We have a problem on our hands, folks. Methinks that Imogen wiped my memory. I love that. Getting ready for the day, but I'm still thinking about it. So I figured get ready together and talk ONYX STORM. The more that I think about this book, the more thoughts that I have. Makes sense, right? I feel like ONYX STORM is one of these books where it's good. Okay, I enjoy. This is not a hate on ONYX STORM. This is not a diss on Rebecca Yarros. I enjoy these books, okay? And I will preface this by saying I will be continuing this series. This book was confusing, okay? There's no way around that. I have seen so many people that are like, if you were confused, you clearly didn't read Fourth Wing or Iron Flame. Yes, I did. I literally read Fourth Wing and Iron Flame the week before this came out, and those were my rereads. I don't feel like I'm naive to the story. I googled high fantasy. Whether you like this or not, for all intents and purposes, ONYX STORM is high fantasy. If we're going off the Google definition. Am I saying that it is as intricate and amazing as Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, Brandon Sanderson? No, I'm not. Fourth Wing at its core is a romance, a romantasy. You break down this story, what happened in ONYX STORM to progress the storyline? If you take a step back and all kind of say, why? Didn't really learn much. We already knew in the other books that Violet was powerful. We already knew that. We already knew that Venom were bad. We already knew that Xaden was gonna struggle. What happened in this story? I feel like the only thing that we actually did learn, and mind you, it took forever to get there, was that Indarna is an Irid. And we learned that the Irids aren't nice. And that they kind of think that they're better than everyone else. Everything else that I've kind of seen is all up for speculation. It's all based off theories. And like I said in my last video, if you saw that, watching other people theorizing what they think will happen in the next few books, that's what makes me more excited. It's not based off what's already happened. It's, I hope, is the trajectory of this story. I know that Fourth Wing is becoming a TV show because of that. This book was filler. We are now writing what should have been a trilogy into a 5-book series to give us material for a TV show. That's what I feel like is happening. And it's a bummer. As a reader, it's a bummer. Was I expecting him to get cured in ONYX STORM? No. I'm not unhappy that he is still Venom, nor that he's turning darker. I honestly think that it's better for the actual story. What I was not expecting was for the exact same cliffhanger as Iron Flame. I mean, literally, instead of pulling from the source for Violet, he pulled from the source for Sigale. I also have seen a few people thinking that she's now going to go back with Dane. And no, Dane is going to be with Sloane. And then even if he wasn't, Xaden turned Venom for her. She turned her back on him after, and I know she didn't ask him to do that, but out of his undying love, he turned dark for her. She turns her back on him. I will no longer be a Violet Sorngale fan. So now to some of my other things that just flat out don't make sense, okay? Because if you're like, get to the point. Professor Xaden. Okay, do I hate that little mini micro trope in the book? No. I thought it was funny. Did I like whenever Professor Xaden and Violet are sparring on the mat and he uses his shadows to make it go dark? Still works. Comes up behind her, kisses her. No, I did like that. Did I like whenever they're in whatever kingdom, because there were so many names thrown around, and he's asking Holden, like, am I here as a professor or as a duke? I love that. But if you break down the actual story, does it make sense that he was a professor? No, it doesn't. Him becoming a teacher was like just thrown in there for this book's version of why they can't be together. Because when have they ever followed the codex to the T? They break. In Fourth Wing, they weren't together because enemies to lovers, all that, and I'm here for it. Iron Flame, they weren't together because of he keeps secrets, she couldn't trust him, and then also they like physically were separated. He was in Samara or wherever. ONYX STORM, They had to have some reason as to why there was tension for them to will they, won't they, sneak around type of stuff. And that was clearly shown through him being a professor. Again, not mad about it. Just didn't make sense. Wherever they were when Professor Grady got caught on fire and Aurora, or Aura, whatever her name was, got killed by the wyvern, that mission was pointless. I mean, really, it was. We did not need, and I get it, they thought that's what they needed, but then when they actually went to the other island, it was Violet pretty much got a pop quiz. Okay, we could have just stuck with that story. We didn't need all this. Oh man. I do really want to know though what was in the letter she wrote Xaden. Because if you remember, she gave him that cuff. She's like, open this now and open the letter later. I really want to know what that letter said. I am also in the camp that him and Auric were cahoots the whole time. Yeah, they knew. Especially if Auric could see the future. I mean, he knows. How does his power work? Like, does his signet work the same way like Alice's did in Twilight? Like the future's always changing and it changes depending on someone's decision? Or does he know like the ultimate? He already knows the end goal decision. So I'm very curious how that will come into play. One theory that I do have is that I do think that Violet's hair is completely silver. Because I feel like when they got married by the priestess, that somehow, some way, almost maybe completely dedicated herself to Dune. I'm not sure, but I do think that her hair will be completely silver. People have also speculated the next cover of the book, and so like this one is black and like ombres down to silver. People think the next book is gonna be mainly silver. Thinking of silver hair, the silver-haired villain, again, Theopine, Theophany. I feel like that's what I've heard people say. She died way too quickly. I mean, she was like this book's villain. Last book we had Varish, and he died, which, thank you, he needed to die. I had shed no tears for that one. I feel like she could have played a much more integral part of the story. And for her to, I mean, yes, they battled, but to die, meet her, battle her, and conquer her all within the same book, I don't know, there could have been more to that. There could have been way more to that. Don't even get me started on if we think Violet's pregnant. I've already talked about that in my last video. So thank you. For better, for worse, we'll say lack of world building. Because I mean, really, we shouldn't be world building to this extent in book 3. I can't tell you the history of Navarre. I mean, at least in Fourth Wing, when Violet is walking the parapet or whatever, she's kind of reciting history. I loved that. I thought that was a very, very creative way to info dump, but make it realistic. There was none of that. She's like spouting off stuff that I'm like, what's happening? Who are we talking to? Like, I listened to a podcast and they're talking about like the Second Rebellion and the Midnight Massacre, and right now in this moment I could not tell you who the Midnight Massacre was between or why it happened. I also read it at midnight. I've been sleep deprived. I'm also a mom to 3 boys. I'm currently pregnant. It could be a mixture of just brain fog, mom brain, pregnancy brain, whatever you want to call it. If 50% of the reviews that I'm seeing are with other people confused, we have a problem on our hands, folks. People think it's the best book in the series, or it's the book that's making them want to DNF the entire series. That is, I don't want to be spoon-fed things. That's not what I'm asking for. Like, I realize that I signed on for a series. I'm not upset that it's a cliffhanger. I'm not upset that I don't know everything. That intrigues me. That excites me. I don't want to know everything, but I don't want to be like the level of confused that I am. Mainly a fantasy romance reader. That is what I like. I've tried to go back to like contemporary romance and I'm like, where is the politics, the scheming? Where is like the life or death stakes? A real world romance novel, when the male main character is like, I die for you, I'm like, ugh, creepy. But in a fantasy world, he's like, I'll die for you. I'm like, oh, wow, he loves her. Speaking of the romance, I liked to see that there was not as much of a miscommunication. What I did not like, let me start by saying, I am happily married to my high school sweetheart. Okay, we started dating when I was 15 and now 27. So what is that? 12 years we've been together. I know, like, we have grown from our kind of cringy I love you type sayings to where we are now, happily married with the 4th baby on the way. If I'm texting my husband while he's at work and I say, okay, cool, I love you, heaven forbid if I were to profess my love to him and he responds with same. Who says that? We're talking about adults in this book. These people are what? Violet's like at least 21. I'm pretty sure she's 21 and I want to say Zane's 24. Don't come at me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I'm telling you right now, if I were to tell someone I love them, you mean the world to me, my soul, you're my gravity, you're everything to me, and they respond with same, this is just her trying to relate to a younger audience because she's got like younger kids. It's the slang. I don't talk like that, okay? And I don't really want to read it either. I don't know if she's in denial or what, but how much she doubted her powers. You have been told multiple times, you have untapped power. You don't even know how powerful you are. You command the sky. How much more in your face it can be. She literally commands from the sky and not from the ground. You're on the other isles where there's supposedly no magic. She's still able to talk to her dragons. She's still able to wield lightning when she's fighting that queen. She's like, that wasn't me. You literally just said you felt heat rise up in you. That's what happens when your lightning comes out. At what point is she like, maybe other people are onto something. That was frustrating. Again, will I continue on with the series? Absolutely. This is not a DNF for me. I think this book is fun. Still think this book is great. Are the Twilight books amazing? No. Do I still watch the movies every year? Yes. Am I still Team Edward? Yes. The whole series cannot ride on you, because she'll say that she's got, for every book, she has the very first line and the very last line. She knows the cliffhanger. You cannot put all of your eggs in the basket of building up to just this one cliffhanger and it not being fleshed out all the way through. I don't know. Part of me thinks that Imogen wiped my memory. Okay, because there's some stuff where I'm like, what, who, what, when, where, why, what are we doing, who are we talking to? And the compass that Violet has, I think will for sure come back into play. I don't know why so many people are writing that off. That to me is weird. I'm like, the whole island, I'm telling you right now, if none of those gifts from the God of Luck, I'm pretty sure, come back into play, that will be proof right here that we're dealing with filler. I personally think that the compass is going to come back into play in dream walking. I think that they keep saying that it's a broken compass. I think somehow, some way, it will work in dreams. Mark my words. Someone else think that the research was extremely easy to obtain. There was more tension building up to her asking Dane to go get the research than there was to actually get the research. She asks him and he's like, oh, I don't know. Okay, I'll do it. But you gotta trust me. A chapter later, we have the research. Don't know how. And the research gave us nothing. I guess Dane got his character arc. The enemies to lovers in the Empyrean series is Dane with us. Dane with us. But okay, did I love this? No. Did I enjoy it? Mostly. Will I continue reading? Yes. Was I confused? Yes. Is it beautiful? Yes. Look, it kind of matches me, huh? Got the gold, silver, black. Books and a bump. That's it for this video, I'm pretty sure.